Brawler's about two brothers competing in an underground fight circuit in New Orleans. It's peripherally controlled by organized crime. And these guys just fight on boats and people bet on it. And our story follows two brothers who kind of always have problems with each other from the beginning, but there's a lot of love there, and they end up on going to war with each other. Nate had heard this story from his father when he was a kid, and it just always stuck with him. And so then Nate and Mark talked about doing something together, and they brought it to me, and right away I just thought it sounded like great material for a movie. So we just as soon as they told me about it, basically I got to work on it, and it all kind of just came together really quickly. I like stories that there may be a lot of complicated stuff going on, but at heart it's something very simple. So I really liked that, and it's basically comes down to a love triangle between two brothers and the girl in between them, and then on top of that, it was exciting to try to my hand at hardcore fighting, which is not something I'd ever done before in a movie, and I love action stuff. So that was fun as a chance to try to make something that was really down and dirty as far as the fighting goes, and that was kind of the idea of the title Brawler, is that it's not really nice, smoothly choreographed action, but it's meant to be messy and in your face, and kind of like the feeling of if you're in a bar and a fight breaks out in front of you. There's a sloppiness to it, and just kind of a shocking immediacy to it that I kind of wanted to see if I could capture in fighting. So it's kind of those reasons all combined to make it a project that just sounded like it'd be a lot of fun to do. Chose the fighting style, because it's meant to be something that where there's it's not that there's no rules. There's some rules. It's kind of a little bit inspired by the early days of the UFC and MMA fighting, where the idea when UFC started was to see guys from different disciplines fighting each other, as opposed to, so they'd have a boxer fight a wrestler and, see what happened. And that kind of changed, fighting, and it's become such a big sport now with the whole MMA thing. But what I wanted to do with Brawler was just to kind of see what street fighters are basically, if they're thrown into a ring, what they do. And then, but when our story takes place is their sport has evolved a little bit to where they start to incorporate some MMA moves. Because the idea is that, the guys that, these guys are pulled by the mob, thrown into this ring, and if they do well, they can keep fighting. And so the brothers that we're following are guys that have, fought, a lot now. And so they've each kind of started to develop their own styles. The one character, Charlie, is more of a boxer, and his brother Bobby is more of a martial artist. But they still incorporate other moves, which is kind of the evolution of what was really interesting in the early days of the UFC, is that the guys realized right away that to win, you kind of have to start to incorporate all these different moves. So yeah, it was kind of just trying to balance, I was talking about the raw immediacy of street fighting, but then thinking about it, how that would evolve, and how you'd have to kind of pull other techniques, from different disciplines, to, in order to keep winning, because that's how these guys make their money. I really enjoyed it. It was fun, and it was nice to be able to work on a bunch of action and then do a drama scene, do some days of drama and then go back to the action. We kind of tried to balance it that way, also just so that we wouldn't wear out, the actors too much, to where we would do a couple days of fighting and then several days of drama and then go back to fighting, but still, yeah, they were all exhausted by the end of the shoot.